Hello everybody, this is Granny. We're taking a drive today and we decided to go east for a change. We started out by driving through Puyallup, Washington. I've been there several other times. In fact, I just did a video about that. But I think we're probably headed towards Carbonado. And there are a lot of other little towns along the way. This is one of them. This is Alderton. Alderton has an old school building that's listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. I believe it was built in 1920. And this place right here, that's Schultz's farm. That's where we buy our berries. And now you can see we're headed into Orting, Washington. Orting has a gorgeous view of the Mount Rainier. We lived in Orting for 18 years back in the 80s and 90s, back before it became such a busy place. All these little towns have one thing in common, and that's the railroad. Back when they all began, the railroad connected to all these little towns, and they either had something to do with being a water stop or some reason for the railroad to come through their town. When the railroads stopped and they started pulling up the tracks, they became part of the Rails to Trails Association, and they turned it into Foothills Trail. The Rails to Trails Conservancy is based in Washington, D.C., and is a national effort to turn used railways into walking trails. Back when we were living in Orting in the 1990s, it became very controversial as to whether people wanted the Rails to Trails to use our old railroad lines for a trail. Some of these small towns had been rather insulated for a long time and weren't sure they wanted outside people to come in. But the plan finally went ahead. But I'll show you, there are a few spots where it has little sections that have been orphaned and are kind of sitting all by themselves. One of them is this extraordinary wooden trestle bridge. The best view of it is from Lower Burnett Road. And besides, this is a very nice drive down here. It's very scenic. And here it is, a beautiful wooden footbridge. This is really pretty up here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Creek's out of here.
This next town is very interesting. Wilkeson had coal mines and a sandstone quarry, and they supplied some raw materials for Tacoma in the form of they would take the coal and put it in their coke ovens and turn it into coke for the shipping industry as well as the other foundries in the city of Tacoma. I did a video about Wilkeson about 2 years ago, and I'll give you a link to that in the end of this video. Wilkeson's a great little town. There's some interesting buildings and a really neat saloon, and there's every July they have handcar races. It's really a neat place to visit. And if you'll notice, the gate coming into the town hall, and a beautiful old school building were all built out of Wilkeson sandstone. The school building is the oldest school in continuous use in the state. This is the old Fairfax Bridge. At the time it was built, it was considered very state-of-the-art. Now it's listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. It once led to the old town of Fairfax, which is no longer there, and is now a ghost town, along with Melmont, which is also listed as a ghost town. If you'd like to, you can still climb down to the old ruins of Melmont. I think those days are past for me. What we'd actually come across here was the northwest entrance to Mount Rainier National Park, which is basically just a parking area. From here you can use their trails, or there are a few camping spots along the river, but they're not inside the park. This is really not an entrance that most people would use. And here we are at the Carbonado Saloon. Believed to have been built in 1873. It's one of the oldest bars in the state. And we made one more stop on the way out of town. This gentleman was 150 years old in April. And here's some wild blackberries growing at the edge of the cemetery. Well, that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.